Hi, my name is Mike Burnette, Director of Gemology here at the Gem Shopping Network, and today I would like to talk about corundum. Some of you may have heard of corundum, but you've certainly heard of the two varieties of corundum, which are rubies and sapphires. Rubies and sapphires are historically the two most popular and some of the most valuable gemstones that you'll ever encounter. Rubies being red, sapphires actually being blue, but realistically sapphires come in all different colors. In the gemological world, there are four precious stones: diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires. To this day, sapphire is still the #1 selling stone across the world and always has been. Rubies and sapphires actually account for about 50% of all gemstones sold in the world. When we think about rubies, we obviously think of the red color that rubies come in. When we think about sapphires, naturally we think about blue, but in reality, sapphires come in every color of the rainbow, but red, hence the ruby aspect of it. Today we're going to show you some of the pieces that we have. I'm also going to show you all of the color varieties that they're going to come in. You're in for a treat. Rubies and sapphires have a 9 on the Mohs hardness scale. The Mohs hardness scale was invented by Frederick Mohs, who ranked almost every material in relative hardness. What hardness is the stone's ability to resist scratching or abrasions. If we think about the hardness scale, it starts at 1, which is chalk, and goes all the way up to the hardness of 10, which is diamond. Diamond being the hardest natural material that you can find. Rubies and sapphires being a 9 are second only to diamonds in that hardness, which means their ability to resist scratching and abrasions makes them ideal to wear every day. They also have an excellent toughness and stability. Toughness is very important in jewelry terms because it's the ability to resist breaking. If you hit it on something, you don't have to worry about the stone breaking or chipping off. Corundum are an aluminum oxide. They form in a triagonal crystal system that looks very similar to a piece like this. This is going to be a rough piece of ruby here, and it looks like a hexagon, but essentially it's two triangles inverted into each other. A better look might be something like this. It gives you an idea of the crystal system of the piece. Most rubies are going to start out this particular way. They'll take the rough like they would with any stone and think, okay, what can we do to maximize the size of the stone, the brilliance of the stone, bring out the red color? And colored stones, more than any other stone, the most important factor is in the name, color. When you mention ruby, no matter what the term, red instantly comes to mind. When you think about sapphire, the same is true with blue. But in reality, sapphires come in every color but red. So when you look at it, you'll see a tray like this that literally has every color sapphire you can imagine. A pure sapphire is going to be white in color. It's going to be something that has no impurities to it. It's those impurities that actually give it a color. You add chromium to a sapphire, it makes it red. You add iron and titanium to a sapphire, it can make it blue. There are a variety of many elements that you take that will give it a color each time. If we think about colored stones and value, taking rubies for example, the more chromium in the stone, the brighter red it's going to be. The brighter red it is, gives it a more valuable color and a more appeal, and consequently the stone's going to be more expensive. That will also change based on where the stone is from. Burma rubies tend to have more chromium in them than a stone from Thailand. So therefore the Burma rubies are going to be brighter, more red consistently throughout, where a Thai ruby might have a purplish undertone to it, so therefore the value will be a little different in that case. When you're cutting a gemstone, you're actually cutting the rough to maximize the size of the first piece. You want it to be as large as you can, but you really more importantly want it to be as colorful and bright as you can. You'll see these two pieces right here were both cut into an oval shape. The ruby rough I showed earlier, you can see has a very elongated look to it. So cutting longer stones, ovals, emerald cuts is very common. You can also see a stone like this. It's a marquee shape. But you'll notice with the marquee it's much slender through the sides of it, even though it has the same length. When you're cutting a marquee versus an oval, you're actually cutting away more rough. So you might have a retention of, say, 40% on an oval stone, where on a marquee you might actually have a retention of 25%. So I mentioned chromium and how the more chromium, the more bright it is. One of the things that we use for this is a long wave UV light, 365 nanometers. You can take a stone like this that is from Burma, you can shine the UV light on it, and you can certainly see the intensity of the red. The more chromium it has, the brighter the red fluorescence is going to be. This is a ruby from Mozambique. You can certainly see it still has nice fluorescence to it, but not quite as bright as the stone from Burma. A little less chromium in a piece like this. Then you'll take a ruby here from Madagascar. You can certainly see the diamonds fluorescing in it, but the ruby not as much. Rubies from Madagascar have a little less chrome, so therefore not as bright with the fluorescent light. This is a piece that I brought because I really want to feature it. It's simply incredible. Probably one of the nicest ruby necklaces that I can recall we've had in a long time. This particular has 18 carats of rubies, 29 carats of diamonds. It's just simply phenomenal. When you have a piece like this, part of the expense, but also part of the joy is the matching of diamonds and rubies. Realistically, matching the diamonds is kind of easy. But when you match rubies, you have so much more that you have to match. It might take upwards of 6 months or longer to find and have stones cut the right color, the right shape, the right size, all of that. Take a piece like these earrings here. These all have Burma rubies. They're going to be even a little more difficult to match because not only do you have 3 different sizes, you have 2 different shapes. You have to make sure that you cut all of the pear shapes exactly the same size. You have the 2 different size ovals. So making sure that the color stays the same throughout the stone, very, very difficult, very nice. These are going to be a treat for somebody. When you think of sapphires, you think of blue, but I have a beautiful example here of a sapphire that actually is going to be a combination of everything. When you look at this, you'll see all of the colors of the rainbow. I brought out earlier this tray of color here. You'll see the blues. We talked about the colorless, the different shades of pink, the purples, the greens. All of those things are considered sapphires. I'm going to talk about this piece right here. This is a Padparasha sapphire. Padparashas are the most expensive of the sapphires. It's going to have an orangey pink or pinkish orange color to it. This particular piece here is a no-heat Burma stone, which means it hasn't been heated. It actually is found in its normal state. This one was also cut by our very own Benko, an award-winning cutter who we're very fortunate to feature here at Gem Shopping. Probably one of the most phenomenal colors that you'll see. Beautiful piece. In this particular case with the Padparasha, it is a mixture of the pinkish orange or orangey pink. It resembles the lotus flower, the color of a lotus flower, which is where the Padparasha got its name. That orangey pink or pinkish orange color is the hardest that nature comes. You find straight colors, you might find different tones, but to have one that has kind of a mixture of the orangey pink or pinkish orange is really the hardest color that nature makes in a sapphire. Corundum, sapphires and rubies are a stone that actually have some phenomenon as we refer to it in the gem industry. Take a stone like this, it's a star ruby. When you shine the light, you can actually see the 6-ray star. What causes is when there's rutile needles inside the stone that line up in a certain angle, and the cutter actually takes and brings those out, and it gives you that phenomenon of having a star inside your stone. One other phenomenon is a brand new stone that we just got in. Just received it from GIA just the other day. This is a color change sapphire. Not very common. You just don't find them. This particular stone, as you'll see, beautiful. It actually changes from a violet color to a purple color. This is what makes Gem Shopping unique. We carry all of the things that you just don't see in any jewelry store or anywhere else for that matter. Cashmere hasn't been mined for over 100 years, so coming by cashmere sapphires, you can only do so on the secondary market. We were fortunate enough to sell probably 5 or 6 years ago a 12.5 carat cashmere sapphire for over $1 million. A simply phenomenal piece. The client called in, absolutely blown away by the piece, purchased it. I was fortunate enough to hand deliver it to her. Everything about it was incredible. GSN was already known for unique pieces. This put us in a different stratosphere. How often can you say that you sold $1 million sapphire, especially on TV? That's why gem shopping is unique and different. Ruby is the birthstone for July. Sapphire is the birthstone for September. But as we've talked about today, rubies and sapphires, the most popular stones ever, those are good no matter what month you were born in. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, they used rubies and sapphires in watchmaking. The metal that they used was going to wear out over time based on friction, but with the corundum part, you didn't have to worry about that. This is where the term jeweled watch came in because of the hardness of the stones. To this day, most watch crystals on finer watches are going to be a sapphire crystal. For years it was a natural crystal, now it's synthetic, but it's still made of synthetic corundum. Thank you for watching this episode of Gem Talk. My name is Mike, and if you ever need any assistance, please let us know.